now moving into Bakasana Crow, and you'll see how the sequence kind of works with a few hip openers, a lot more rounding in the spine, and a few interesting shapes to move us towards the shape of Bakasana. All right, so when you're ready, you can come to lying on your back, and we'll start off nice and gentle. Lying on your back, you can bring the soles of your feet together and your knees gently out to the sides. Good. So we're lying in a supine butterfly position. Soles of feet together, knees relaxing out to the sides, and your palms are just gently turned up to face the ceiling. At any point this feels a bit strong for your hips or your legs, just lie with your legs straight or knees bent. And as we settle into our mats this morning, close your eyes and take 5 long, deep breaths. Bringing your awareness into your body. Allowing the mind to quieten and connect with your breath. And gently from here, bringing the knees together and hugging both knees into your chest for a nice big hug. You can rock a little from side to side if that feels good, or just kind of feel into your body whatever you need this morning. Hold on to the bottom of the knee, so towards your shins, and you're going to draw knee circles around by opening the knees apart and then circling the legs around to feel a little bit of rotation coming into your hips. As we move through some more external rotation today, some hip openers, we gently start to warm up into those hip sockets. And when you're ready, change direction of your circles and circle the knees back the other way. Just gently easing into your body. And from here, hugging knees back into your chest, nice big hug. Feeling a little bit of rounding into the lower back, allowing the tailbone to lightly curl off the mat. So we're feeling a little bit more rounded and compact in the body this morning. From here, take hold of the outer edges of your feet, so baby toe sides of your feet, and draw your legs into a happy baby pose, bending your knees to the outsides of your ribs. And just start to feel a little stretch into the inner groins and inner thighs. Once again, option to rock it out from side to side here, or just be still in the center of your mat. Relax your shoulders and your neck back onto the ground. Gently starting to open up the hips. Nice. From here, release the left foot onto the mat. Just keeping that leg bent, and keep your right leg in happy baby pose, and maybe deepen the stretch through your right leg in happy baby, drawing that right knee down a little bit deeper. Then with your left hand, take hold of your right foot and bring your right shin across your body as if you're moving into a lying down pigeon pose. Shin moves across the body. And with your right hand, just gently press the right thigh out to deepen that rotation in the hip as you come into a lying down pigeon pose. Maybe with a little bit of movement, rocking that leg from side to side as you just gently ease into those hips this morning. Good. Let's repeat that one more time. Take the right leg back into happy baby pose. Feel the stretch through the right inner thigh and groin. And then bring the shin back across into your lying down pigeon pose. Left hand holds the foot and right hand presses that right thigh out. Now gently float your left thigh up to connect with your right ankle. Come into a figure four stretch and take hold of the back of the left thigh or shin, wherever feels comfortable for you this morning, and relax down through the shoulders and neck. Feeling a nice stretch into that outer right hip, into the glutes. And from here, we take a gentle twist to the left, bringing your arms out to the sides and twisting the right sole of foot onto the outside of the left side of the mat and moving to a twisted figure four, just feeling a nice release down the right side of your body. Option to turn your gaze towards your right hand or right shoulder, softening into that twist. Gently we ease back to center and bring the legs both back into happy baby pose and relax down through the shoulders. Rock it out or just hold and breathe here in your happy baby. Keep holding onto your left foot now and release the right sole of foot onto the mat. Increase your happy baby stretch on the left side, drawing that left knee down a little bit deeper. Then bringing your shin across your body for your lying down pigeon, right hand takes hold of that left foot as you gently press the left thigh out to feel a nice stretch through the outer left hip. Take a few breaths in that stretch. Option to rock that leg a little from side to side if the hips are feeling a bit tight this morning, just to ease into that stretch. Moving back into our single leg happy baby. Left leg moves back to happy baby pose, feeling stretches through inner thighs and groins on the left. And then back into our lying down pigeon pose, holding that foot with your right hand and pressing your thigh out to the side. Floating the right thigh up for our figure four pose, connecting with your left ankle and taking hold of the back of the right thigh or shin and relaxing shoulders back onto the mat. Take a few deep breaths here in your figure four pose. Moving over into a twist, bring your arms out to the sides and twist your knees and feet over to the right side, feeling into that twisted figure four pose. Option to turn your gaze over to the left. Breathe and soften into this twist. Beautiful. Gently release and come back to center and hug both knees back into your chest to soften. Moving into Gomukhasana, cow face legs. Straighten both legs up towards the ceiling. And then cross your right thigh over your left thigh. So you're crossing the thighs on top. Then bend your knees and squeeze your feet out to the sides. Curl your head up to take hold of either your ankles, your calves, or your shins. That's it. And then lower your head back onto the ground as you feel a nice deep stretch into the hips. Right leg is on top. The thighs are crossed over. And we're relaxing shoulders back onto the mat. Now, keeping the legs crossed over like this, we cross the arms. So cross your left elbow over your right elbow and wrap the forearms and palms towards one another. So we've got crossed legs and crossed eagle arms. Take a breath in here, and as you exhale, curl up to tummy crunch up, working into core, working into those abdominal muscles. Inhale as you reach your elbows and knees away from one another, and then exhale, crunch up and repeat 2 more times. Crunch and round the spine. Inhale, elbows and knees release away, and exhale to round and crunch, using those deep tummy muscles to lift. Beautiful. Gently release the arms, straighten your legs, and soften your head down onto the mat. Feel that on the other side. Cross your left thigh over your right thigh, bending the knees, and then curling up to take hold of either your ankles, your shins, or your calves, and lowering the head back down to feel a nice deep stretch into those hips. And just breathe into the pose. Beautiful. So keeping the thighs crossed over, now cross your right arm over your left arm and wrap the elbows, forearms, and hands together. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, curl the head up, tummy crunch up. Your elbows can be on the inside of your left knee. Nice deep rounding in the spine, deep tummy work. Inhale to open knees and elbows apart. And exhale to round and crunch, crunch up. See how high you can lift. Inhale, opening knees and elbows. Exhale to round and crunch up. Beautiful. One more time. Inhale to open. Exhale, crunch up using those abdominals, and then releasing back to the mat. Straighten the legs, and then hug both knees into your chest and soften completely. Well done. Some nice abdominal work on your Sunday morning. Take a few breaths and just soften any tension from your neck and shoulders. From here, we're going to try a lying down crow position. So we can work the shapes of crow without having to be working and balancing on our hands. So lying here, open the knees apart and bring your big toes together to touch. So you've almost brought your legs into a little V position, okay? And then curl your head up and reach your hands forwards and bring your knees to your upper arms. So your knees are on the outsides of your arms. Press your hands away from you, flex fingers up to the ceiling, and then really round and crunch up. So squeeze your knees to your upper arms, press through your hands, and feel that rounding through your shoulder blades. Take a breath here, and then exhale, lower back to the mat and just soften. Good. You can roll your head from left to right because our neck muscles are working a little bit there, which is good as well. We're going to feel that one more time. So legs in a little V position, knees open out to the sides, big toes come together to touch. Reach your arms up, press through your hands, and then curl your head up and bring your knees to your outer upper arms. Push through the hands, round through the shoulders, push, push, push. Keep your right knee where it is and stretch your left leg forwards. Continue to round and lift up through your shoulders. Inhale to bring that left knee back And then now with the right leg, extend your right leg away and squeeze your left knee to your left upper arm. Bring it back to center. Take one more breath. Press up in your supine crow. And then completely relax back onto the ground. Well done. Just roll it out. So notice how we can work the shapes of the pose, even sometimes in shapes that aren't classical yoga poses. We can also make stuff up so that you can experience the pose without having to be in the full expression of it. All right, let's roll ourselves up to seated. And in a seated position, bring the soles of your feet together and your knees out to the sides. Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Good. You can sit up nice and tall here and hold on to the outer edges of your feet and just feel a nice lift in your chest. Or you have the option to round your spine and come into a gentle forward fold and allow for the rounding in the spine and the rounding between your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here, relaxing down into the hips. Nice and soft. Dog today. All right, slowly roll back up to seated. Extend your left leg forwards in front of you and bend your right foot up a little bit more so the right sole of foot is touching your left inner thigh. Inhale, reach arms overhead, and exhale, forward fold over your left leg, taking hold of maybe the shin, the ankle, or your foot, and allow the spine to soften and gently round. Here you can think of pressing your right thigh down towards the mat, so we're still keeping a sense of opening in the hips. Lifting your chest as we inhale, reach arms overhead. Send your right hand back behind you and point your fingers towards the back of the mat. We'll press into a kneeling side plank as you sweep up onto your right knee. Press your hips up overhead and feel that push down of your bottom arm pressing into the mat. Take a breath here. And exhale, gently lower your hips back to the ground. Bringing the soles of feet back together in your butterfly pose and sitting up nice and tall for a breath. Changing legs, we extend the right leg forwards and bend the left leg up so the left sole of foot is touching right inner thigh. Inhale, reaching arms up. And exhale to forward fold over your extended right leg. Taking hold of ankle, shin, or foot, wherever your hands land up, and allowing the spine to gently round forwards. Think of pressing the left thigh down towards the mat, keeping the sense of opening in the left hip. And breathing here. We now to lift the chest and reach both arms up overhead, taking your left hand back behind you this time, fingertips pointing to the back of the mat. Sweeping up onto your left knee, pressing hips up to the ceiling and pushing down through the bottom arm, feeling a little bit of activation through the shoulders and arms. Take one more breath here, inhale. And then exhale, lowering the hips back onto the ground. Well done. This time, bend both knees and place the soles of your feet firmly on the ground. All right, from here, we're going to move into a boat pose, Navasana, and try out a seated crow position to work the shapes of our body that we want later on. So taking hold of the back of the knees, round and curl back off your sit bones. And just take a moment to feel a little bit of balance on the back of your sit bones as you float one leg up at a time. Good. And then once you've got your balance here, send your hands forwards out in front of you. Lovely. From here, big toes together, knees apart. Open the legs into that little V position once again. Good. And now round your spine, round your shoulders, press into your hands, and now squeeze your knees up towards your upper arms. Good. Nice and strong. Squeeze knees to triceps, and then inhale, come back into your boat pose. Breathe in. Option to straighten legs if you want. And then exhale, big toes together, knees draw apart, round your spine, push through the hands, and then turn, squeeze your knees to your upper arms. Take one more breath here. Well done. And then roll yourself forwards onto hands and knees. Good. All right, so you can really see the shapes we're creating in the body today. On all fours, spread your fingers and open up through your palms. We'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow just to flow it out. Inhale to gaze up, gentle arch in the spine. And exhale to round your spine. Let's emphasize the rounding today, really pushing into the hands, really rounding through the shoulders, scooping the tailbone under. And then inhale to lengthen, gently arch in the spine. And then emphasize that big cat stretch, rounding through the spine. Continue for 2 more rounds with your own breath. Just flowing and feeling into your body. On your last one, keep your cat stretch. So keep that rounding up through the spine. Push into your hands and look gently forwards ahead of you. Keeping the cat stretch, keeping the push in the hands, gently lean forwards over your wrist. Look forwards and lean forwards is going to be your mantra today. Feeling a little bit of work into those wrists. Strong arms, keep pushing into the mat, gently looking forwards, leaning forwards, and releasing back. Well done. We'll play with that shape a little bit more later on. Okay, extend your right leg straight back behind you. And exhale, bring your right knee to your right upper arm. I'll show you on the left, so the knee squeezing to the outer arm. Good, and then inhale, kick it back. 2 more like that. Right knee to right upper arm on the outside. Almost hook it there, as if your arm is like a shelf. Inhale, kick it back. 1 more time, hook right knee to right upper arm. Keep that hook now. Squeeze your knee against your shoulder. Look forwards, and once again, lean forwards over your wrist. So you're almost in like a one-legged crow. Can you feel the shapes? Nice. Take a big step forwards with that right foot into lizard pose. And then walk your hands forwards into your lizard. Keeping the arms straight, gently squeeze your right knee up against your right shoulder. So we have that sense of where we want that knee to be squeezing later on for our crow pose. 1 more breath here. And then straighten your back knee and take a step forwards into a squat. So step your feet into a wide squat. So feet are turned out, knees are open, and you're bringing your shoulders in between your knees in a wide-legged Malasana. Good. And just take a breath here. Feel the rounding in the spine. Feel the knees connecting to your upper arms, as this strongly resembles the shape we'll be doing today. All right, from here, we're going to change legs. Step your right foot back and come into lizard on the left side. So right foot step back, left foot is in a brief lizard. Okay, bring your hands a bit closer towards you. And then kick your left leg behind And we'll repeat to flow on the left side. You ready? Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Hook that knee up against the shoulder. Inhale, kick it back. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Find that hook. Good. Inhale, kick it back. One last time. Hook left knee to left upper arm. Keep it there. Squeeze left knee to arm. Look forwards. And now lean forwards over your wrists and hands. Like you're in a one-legged crow. Big step forwards with the left foot. And then walk the hands forwards to come into lizard. Well done. In your lizard pose, we'll keep the arms straight for now and squeeze your left knee to your left upper arm. Just feeling that connection through the inner thigh. Straighten the back leg, knee comes off the floor, and step forwards for Malasana with feet wide. Squat down and bring the shoulders between the knees, allowing for a gentle rounding in the spine. And breathe in here. Slowly rise up to standing with your feet like this. Rising on up to stand, keeping the feet apart. You're going to swivel on the balls of your feet. So you turn to face the back of the mat and your thighs cross over. And then bend your knees, sweep your arms back into a little curtsy squat. Nice. Let's do that on the other side. So pivot back to the front of the mat, arms reach overhead. And then to the other side, pivoting on the feet, thighs cross over, and curtsy squat, reaching down. Beautiful. Swiveling back to the top of your mat. And now step your feet into Tadasana, mountain pose, and release your arms down to your sides. Take a moment to ground here. Maybe you want to close your eyes. Come back to your breath. Maybe you gently want to rock forwards and back between hands and the balls of feet and heels. Just taking a moment to ground. Softly allow the eyes to open, and we begin in our chair pose by bending the knees, brushing fingertips to the ground, sitting your way back into your heels for Utkatasana chair pose. We want to feel a little bit of work and strength into those legs. Squat all the way down to Malasana. This time with feet together, your heels will pop up and round the spine to come into your low squat with feet together. Then place your hands onto the mat on the outsides of your feet. An option to step or maybe take a little jump back into plank. Nice. Holding in plank nice and strong. And with a slow, strong push into the hands, moving the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here in your down dog if you wish to pedal out the feet or do whatever feels good in your first down dog of the day. We sweep the right leg up for three-legged dog and bring your right knee to your right outer arm. Exhale, hooking knee to the outside of the arm. Yes, make that shelf. And inhale, kick it back. Three-legged dog. Exhale, left and right knee to right upper arm, hooking that knee. Yes, inhale, kick it back. One more time, knee to upper arm. Pause there, look forwards and a little lean forwards onto the wrists. Well done, kick back, three-legged dog. And back to downward facing dog. Looking forwards to the top of the mat. Bend your knees in down dog. Option to walk, step, or maybe jump into your little low squat Malasana. Want to give it a go? Little hop, like a little froggy jump. Bring your hands and your shoulders between the knees and round into your Malasana. Good. Push into the feet for chair pose, Utkatasana. Rise back up to standing and relax your arms into Tadasana. We're going to repeat that again to feel it on the left side. Are you ready? Feeling a little bit of heat in the body now? Let's go. Bending the knees, Utkatasana chair. Continue to lower all the way down. Malasana squat, knees open, shoulders between the knees, rounding through your spine. Ground your hands on the outsides of the feet. Take a little walk, step, or maybe try a jump into plank. Nice. Pushing slowly back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. On the left, we sweep left leg up, three-legged dog. Knee to upper arm for 3. Are you ready? Hook knee to upper arm for 1. Inhale, kick back. Exhale, knee to upper arm 2. Ready? Squeeze that knee to your arm and kick it back. One last time. Hold on 3. Look forwards. Lean forwards onto the hands. Kick back, three-legged dog. And back to downward facing dog. Well done. Lower down into child's pose. Big toes together. Knees apart. And soften into child's pose. Relax your arms. Relax your shoulders. And take a few breaths wherever you feel comfortable. And soften. Well done. When you're ready, stretching the arms forwards and pressing the hips back into downward facing dog. Go on, lifting hips up to the ceiling and pushing into those hands. Inhale, right leg up for three-legged dog. And take a big step forwards between your hands for a low lunge. Good. Now we're going to turn to our Skandasana, our low lunge to the side. So bring your hands to the inside of the right foot. Swivel onto your left heel as you turn to the side of the mat and come into your low squat in Skandasana. Good. Well done. Take a little forward fold here. Bringing your hands towards the mat, maybe folding your elbows towards the mat, getting nice and low and deep into those hips. Softly back onto hands and walk over to the left side, Skandasana to the left. And gently forward fold to round the spine and stretch deeply into those hips. Turn to face the back of your mat and take low lunge facing the back of the mat. And step back, downward facing dog facing the back of your mat. We'll bring that back around. Left leg sweeps up, three-legged dog. Inhale. Step forwards for low lunge. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Swivel onto your right heel. Take Skandasana on the left and gently round and soften down into those hips. Gently transition through center and take Skandasana over to the right and forward fold, rounding through the spine. Turning back to the front of your mat, low lunge pointing back to the front and stepping back into downward facing dog. Well done. And breathing here. Gazing to the top of the mat. Option to walk, step, or jump to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees and sweep into Utkatasana, chair pose. Rise back up to standing high mountain. Reach up and relax arms down to your sides. Take a moment to breathe and ground here in your mountain pose. Beautiful. So we're going to take that a little bit further now and flow into a moon salutation, which is a lovely flow. I don't know if you've tried it before. But in Tadasana, we inhale both arms up, interlace your fingers and point your index finger forwards, okay? Arms overhead like this. Take a side stretch to the right, like a little half moon shape, tipping your hips over to the left. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, side stretch to the left side, tipping your hips off to the right. And inhale, both arms up. Take a big step out with your left foot so you can hopefully face me and come into your goddess squat. You could also step out with your other foot if you wanted to point to your camera, especially if this is a little bit unfamiliar for you. All right, in your goddess squat, we're pressing those thighs out nice and wide. Beautiful. Straighten arms and legs. Turn your right foot out 90 degrees and your left foot turns in 30 degrees for your triangle pose, Trikonasana. Reach to the right, allowing that left hip to roll forwards, natural hips. Lengthen the sides of the body and bringing your hand to your shin, ankle, maybe the floor, and opening up through the top arm. Feeling a nice stretch through that right inner thigh. Take a breath here in your triangle. Beautiful. Now from here, we're going to turn onto the ball of the back foot and square the hips to the front of the mat to fold into pyramid pose. You've got it. Squaring the hips on the ball of the back foot. Bend the front knee, low lunge, and ground your back knee down. Inhale, breathe both arms up. Beautiful. Now we're going to float to Skandasana. See, as you move to Skandasana, maybe you're not using your hands and you bring your hands to heart center as an extra challenge. Otherwise, please use your hands and transition smoothly. Flow to Skandasana on the left. Lovely. And then we bring it back around. Turn to the back of your mat, low lunge, ground the back knee down. Inhale, arms up. Beautiful. Ground the hands and fold pyramid pose. Straighten up the front leg. I know this is a little confusing. Don't worry, you'll get a feel for it. Ground the back heel and open up for triangle pose. Back heel is grounded. Hand comes to shin. Opening up through the top arm, twisting chest open. Gorgeous. Can you feel how important it is to keep the feet wide through these transitions? Coming up into goddess pose. Turn both feet out. And exhale, goddess squat. Excellent. We're going to step to the back of the mat. Bring both feet together. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, release both arms down. So we're going to do all of that again to bring us back to the front of our mat, moving through a moon salutation. Okay, now you're a bit more familiar with it. Let's inhale, both arms up. Interlace the fingers and press the index finger up. Take a side stretch to the left first this time. Little side stretch. Inhale, arms up. And side stretch to the right. Inhale, arms up. Big step out with your right foot, or whatever foot you need to face towards me. It doesn't matter. Just get into goddess. Cool. Good. Nice deep goddess squat, pressing those thighs out. We move to triangle pose on the left. So straighten arms and legs. Left toes turn out, right toes turn in. Reach for your triangle pose to the left side. You've got it. Opening the chest, reaching up through the top arm. Beautiful. Now we move to pyramid pose. So we turn on the ball of the back foot and square the hips to the back of the mat. Beautiful. Bend the front knee, low lunge, inhale, arms up, back knee grounds, inhale, arms reach overhead. We try our Skandasana without hands as we swivel to Skandasana on the left. Nice. It's not easy. And then see if you can flow that through to on the right. Well done. Turn back to low lunge on the right side, rounding the back knee. Inhale, arms up, low lunge. Beautiful. Pyramid poses next. Ground the hands straight on the front leg. Forward fold into your pyramid. Nice. Triangles next. Ground your back heel. Right hand on right shin. Twist your chest open for Trikonasana. Triangle pose. Beautiful. Come up for goddess pose. Turn both feet out. Exhale, goddess squat. Nice. Step back to the front of your mat or from wherever you started from right at the beginning. Arms up overhead. And exhale, release both arms down. Good. So it's quite fun, a little different. And we're going to add on even more to that. So you really got to use your brain this morning. Let's go. Moon salutation with add-on. Inhale, arms up overhead, interlace fingers. Press index finger forwards. Take a side stretch to the right, little half moon. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, side stretch to the left, half moon. Inhale, arms up. Take a big step out, whatever foot you need to face towards me. Goddess pose. Good. Once you get the hang of it, you can join me with lefts and rights, but that's all good for now. We're going to straighten arms and legs, but this time turn feet parallel, so both toes are pointing forwards, and then take a forward fold into a wide-legged pose. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, okay, with your arms straight. You're going to look forwards past your hands as if your hands were the bottom two corners of a triangle. Your drishti will be the top corner of the triangle. So look forwards to that top corner. Lean forwards over your wrists. Look forwards, lean forwards, and see if you can rise to the balls of the feet as you take more weight into your hands. Look forwards, lean forwards is your mantra today. And exhale, rock it back. Good. Triangle to the right. Right foot turns out. Left foot turns in. Opening the chest up into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Beautiful. Pyramid pose. Turn onto the ball of your back foot. Square your hips to the right. Forward fold in pyramid pose. Bend the back knee. Ground back knee to the floor. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, bring hands down and take a lunge with feet together, a squat with the feet together at the top of the mat, Malasana squat. Opening knees out and rounding the spine forwards. Bring your hands to the floor in this Malasana and really start to feel your shoulders connecting to your knees and your knees squeezing up against your upper arms. Bring the hands back and step back into low lunge. Left foot steps back, low lunge on the right, and turn to Skandasana on the right side. We float back all the same. And Skandasana to the left. Beautiful. Turning to your left leg, low lunge, back knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down, pyramid pose, straightening the front leg, squaring the hips. Triangle pose on the left, ground back heel, open up, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Beautiful, come up for goddess pose. Turning both feet out, thighs press out, goddess squat. Stepping to the back edge of your mat, step to your left foot, inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down, Tadasana, mountain pose. We float back around. Last time, let's go. Inhale, arms up. Interlace fingers, press index finger up. Side stretch to the left and reach. Inhale up. Exhale, side stretch to the right. Inhale, arms up. Big step out, goddess pose. Lovely. Turning the feet to point forward, straighten arms and legs. For wide-legged forward fold, feet are parallel to the edges of the mat, and we're coming all the way down. Nice big stretch into inner thighs, opening those hips. Ground hands underneath shoulders. Again, look forwards, find your drishti, that top corner of your triangle. Look forwards and then lean forwards onto your hands. Push down through your hands, round a bit through your shoulder blades, and then lift the feet so they feel lighter as you shift more weight into your hands. Look forwards, lean forwards. Exhale, rock it back. Well done. Triangle to the left side. Left toes turn out, right toes turn in. Triangle to the left. Beautiful. Pyramid pose to the left, turning on the ball of the back foot. Forward fold, pyramid pose. Low lunge on the left, ground the back knee. Inhale, arms up. We take a Malasana squat, stepping forwards, feet together. You ready? Step forwards, Malasana squat. Knees open wide, shoulders between the knees. And see if you can bring your elbows towards the floor now. So we're getting even more round, more compact for our crow. Feel where the knees are connecting to your upper arms. Feel a rounding through the spine. We step back into low lunge on the left. Right foot steps back, left foot stays in front. And turn to Skandasana on the left side. Well done. Transition to Skandasana on the right side. Beautiful, and we bring it back all the same. Low lunge to the right, ground the back knee, and inhale, arms up. Forward fold into pyramid pose. We ground the hands and straighten the right leg, pyramid pose. Triangle pose on the right. We ground the back heel, right hand to shin, open up, Trikonasana. Beautiful. Goddess pose. Inhale, coming up, pressing the thighs out, turning feet out, goddess squat. Coming back to standing where you started at the top of the mat, right step to the right foot, inhale, arms up. And exhale, release, arms down, close your eyes. Take a moment to breathe and ground. Beautiful. Softly allow your eyes to open and come to stand in the middle of the mat for our peak pose. I recommend, let's play with it a little bit. We can do crow pose in a couple different ways. If you have a block, you can try starting with your feet on a block. And I recommend as well, if you have a pillow, so that you feel safe. If crow pose is something that's a bit scary for you, you've never done this before, grab a pillow so that you feel more comfortable to lean forwards. Okay. If you have a block, you can try it on a block. It's also quite a cool variation. If you don't have one, don't stress. Okay, so come to stand in the middle of your mat. So you've got space, you've got your pillow, maybe you have a block. Cool. We're going to start in Utkatasana chair pose. Bend in the knees, Utkatasana chair. Now, if you don't have a block, you're going to come straight down into Malasana with feet together. If you do have a block, stand with your feet on the block, your toes on the block, and then through your chair pose, come to Malasana with your toes perched on the block. Okay. So wherever you are, you're in a Malasana squat, and bring your elbows towards the floor. So this is helping us to get as round and compact as possible, okay? Elbows to the floor. Now from here, drag your hands back until they can't go back anymore. You feel now that you've wedged your arms underneath your knees, right? Underneath your shins. Can you feel that? And make sure your hands are shoulder distance apart, or maybe even a little bit wider for the ladies, so that you feel broad, okay? Now rise to the toes on the balls of your feet and just wiggle your knees up a little bit higher. So you really feel like your knees are resting on your arms like a little shelf. Now the key to crow pose is to look forwards. Okay, so you're going to look forwards. Maybe you're looking forwards at your pillow. Your pillow is there. So if you come down, you've got a soft landing. Look forwards. Just lean forwards and feel one foot becoming lighter and maybe lifting off the floor. And then rock it back. Take a little breather. Shake it out. Okay. Let's try that again and try and lift the other foot. So elbows come towards the floor. Drag the hands back so they can't go back no more. Rise to your toes and shuffle your knees up, your arms a little bit higher. Look forwards, lean forwards, other foot comes off the block or the mat. Maybe you're going to look forwards and feel your weight in your hands, and maybe the other foot feels like it can lift. Good. Let's come up to standing. We'll try it again. Just give yourself a little breather because it gets quite scrunchy for the hips. Woo. Okay. So now continue to work with your pillow and your block if you want. It really helps you to get forwards, right? Or if you want, you can take the props away now and just work with it without any props. Okay. So let's try that one more time. Come into your Malasana squat. Good. Knees apart. Bring your elbows towards the floor. Okay, just to get you nice and deep and compact. Hands, make sure they're wide enough, not too narrow. Make yourself feel broad. Drag your hands back so they can't go back no more. Rise up onto your toes, and then maybe you shuffle your knees up a little bit more so you feel like you've got them in the ideal position. Now the key is to look forwards. Look forwards, look forwards, look forwards. Stick your head out almost like a tortoise. Good, you're on your hands. You're looking forwards. You're leaning forwards. Good, maybe just one foot lifts. Maybe both feet lift. Yay! Helene got takeoff. So Zama, come off your elbows now and onto your hands. So now your elbows are going to lift off the floor. Drag your hands back, elbows off. You're doing a baby Bakasana, which is a bit harder on your elbows. Yes, that's it, Summer. Look more forward, Summer. Yes, like that. Yes, now you're in it. Okay, drag your hands back a little more. Give it another go. And this doesn't often just happen just once. So play with it. You might have to adjust where your knees feel ideal or where your lean is. Oh, if your arms are exhausted, take a break at any point. Otherwise, give it one more go. You might just be there. Yes, Zama. Now elbows come off. Drag your hands back a little bit more, Zama. Yes, now you've got it. Now lift your chest up. Lift your chest up away from the floor. Good. Yes. Now just lean 1 foot at a time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Just feel 1 foot at a time. It's all good. Take it slow. Take it slow. Sometimes we get excited and want to lift both feet, and then it's like, woo. Well done.
Don't worry, we're going to do this loads of times and you'll get a chance to feel where you find your ideal balance. Okay, sit on your bum, relax, sit with your legs crossed. So one thing I forgot to mention there, which I think would help a lot of you just before we go. So we did the squat, we brought the elbows down, okay? But from here, you need to lift your chest. So Zama and Zani, you have to kind of lift your chest and lift onto the toes. So you guys stay quite low here, okay? You want to lift the chest onto the toes. So my collarbones are broad. I'm looking far ahead of me. And then just very, very, very slowly, 1 foot at a time, you'll feel that lean. Okay, so when you practice it again, no stress now, you're tired. Lift the chest a bit more. Okay. Come to sit with your legs crossed. Well done, everyone. And because you've done a lot of rounding, fingertips behind you. And just sit up nice and tall. And lift your chest. Little back bend. Opening up the chest now after all that rounding. Take your left hand over to your right knee and take a little twist to the right side. Come back to center and then right hand to left knee and take a little gentle twist to the left side. Well done. Come back to center and cross your legs and gently recline down onto your back. With your knees bent, just allow your spine settling back into its natural curves. Bring one leg up at a time to a 90-degree tabletop, and with your arms out to the sides, take a twist to the right side and soften into that twist. Just breathe and relax here. Rest your legs, rest your feet. Using those abdominal muscles to pull you back through center, and then rest your knees and feet on the left side and soften. Come back up to center and then ground your feet back onto the mat. We'll press our hips up into a bridge pose, just as a counter pose from all the rounding we've done. A little gentle back bend, pressing the hips up, pressing your chest up and relaxing your neck. Keep your gaze straight to the ceiling so your neck is in its natural curves. Option to interlace your fingers, to bind the hands, and then maybe you straighten the arms and tuck one shoulder underneath you at a time, and then get a little bit more of a back bend, pressing chest forwards. Take one more breath here. And then unbind your hands if you bound them, and slowly melt your spine back down onto the mat. For your final relaxation, rest your legs out in front of you. Let your feet flop out to the sides. Make sure shoulders feel comfortably flat and palms turning up to face the ceiling. Take a few moments to get completely comfortable. And then relax and let go here in Shavasana. How did you guys find the class this morning? Could the sequence make sense? How we were rounding the spine. We felt a few times where to place our knees on our upper arms, and working a few hip openers to be able to squat nice and low to get into the shapes of crow, especially for those who are a little bit tighter through the inner thighs and groins. So we will be doing lots of arm balances, and we will repeat that again. But Helene, I think I saw you pop up there and was very happy, even with her niggly shoulder.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky with my shoulder. I looked up which muscles, the names of all the muscles that are hurting, but I've always struggled with crow, and the prep for it worked beautifully to get me into it. I can't stay for long. It's like a split second, but I get both feet up. And everything that you described, like getting you there, I found that when my like I've been doing a lot of like mula bandhas or bandhas with the Ashtanga, and like my core has grown stronger, and that has really helped me in the Bakasana a lot.
Absolutely, because your core switches on when your back is round, and Bakasana is one of those core poses. So that's fantastic, Helene. Eva, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I don't generally have a problem doing crow. But I was going to say, what's interesting is that the instructions you give are so simple. But when you go to regular yoga classes, none of that is there, right? They're like, you have yoga, you have crow as your practice, then do it. When in reality, I think a lot of people are reluctant to do crow because, they're going to fall or whatever. But if you actually put your arms down, it makes everything so much easier. Like you're so much closer to the ground and you can just lift yourself up. So like, I think that, for me, that was like, I was able to hold the crow for like 10, 15 seconds. And I was really happy because normally I just started with, straight arm, but with your instruction, just thought it made it so much easier. And I wish that was always the case in other, in classes that they would say, just do this.
Yeah, you're so right, Eva. So many classes are like, take crow if it's in your practice, or handstand if you, but where do we actually learn how to do these poses? And it's so simple, just with a few helpful tips. Only a couple of cues, we can get the knees into the right place, the hands, and then look forwards, lean forwards, and things happen. So absolutely. And I think this peak pose sequencing also really encourages us to teach what's happening in the pose. Like you could feel it. We did it laying down, so you could feel where your knees were going to be. And then we did it seated, so you could feel the shape. So when it came to that crow pose, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Cool. So well done, Eva. That's awesome. Demi, your hand is up.
I have a question. So I always thought I couldn't do crow because maybe my core was too weak. But as everyone else is saying, the way you explained it, it came together so nicely. But I realized that where my knees sit on my arm, I don't know if my arms are just really weak. I don't know. I'm sure they probably are. Mm-hmm. But if I couldn't find a single position where my arm could actually, like my knee kept sliding off of my arm, which is very strange.
Yeah. So this is, there's actually many ways of doing crow pose. You'll see it sometimes done with straight arms. You'll see it sometimes done with the knees kind of pointing right onto the triceps. And the version I was teaching you guys today is with your knees kind of on the outsides of your arms. So you're almost clamping your knees to your upper arms. So you're using your inner thighs a lot more and using your legs. And Demi, I think this is always the thing. We have to just explore the pose and feel, okay, for my body, I feel my knees hold over here. And it's maybe a little bit of self-exploration to feel where your knees feel that shelf on your upper arms. So keep going with it. It's a lot of arm strength. So you need a little bit of arm strength. And the biggest thing with all arm balances is they're all levers. So Carmel's probably heard this before. It's all about, imagine like a seesaw, okay? If you put more weight to one side, the other side lifts. And that is basically the key component to all arm balances. If you lean, you lift. So you need enough strength in your arms and of course a bit in your wrists as well, because you want to build up a bit of that strength to be able to carry the weight of your body in your wrists, which is also a bit of a process. And then if you lean enough, if you just kind of have your knees hooked and lean, your feet will pop up. So it's quite amazing. And crow is such a great first pose to feel that. That's why we had you on the blocks, to kind of start you in that seesaw a little bit higher for that lean. So keep going for it, Demi. Find where those knees hook eventually. It's always a little bit of a fiddle. And then look forwards and lean forwards, and you'll feel where that tipping point is. And it might just be a split second. That is perfect. That split second, least you've identified where that lever is. And then once you know where that is, the holds, like even now it has, the holds stay for much longer because you know where that pivoting point is. So it will come. It'll come. And squeeze those knees and just work the positioning. You'll get it.
I just want to.
Yes.
Oh.
Helene, go for it.
No, I just want to say to Demi, I've always had the same problem because I have really long, thin arms, and whenever someone says like put your knees into your arms, I feel as if I'm gonna drill right into my arm, or like I feel as if I'm gonna break somehow. Like I could never do it. And the way you described it this morning was so like I forgot about the knees slipping because they were on the outside and I was thinking of leaning. And like that didn't even come up. Like if I did it the other way, it feels as if I'm gonna get like bruises or something on my arms. So yeah, the sort of the way you explained it this morning just made so much better sense.
I actually think now maybe I was focusing too much on the position and not the squeeze. So that means that my legs were kind of heavier than they should have been, maybe. So, okay.
And another little useful tip is I say bring your elbows to the floor just to get you nice and low, okay? And then when you lift your elbows off the floor, almost wing your elbows outwards a bit like this, so that your knees almost have more of a shelf to rest on. And then you can lift your chest and your elbows are out a little bit and your knees are then have a little bit more of a kind of literally a shelf to rest on. And then, as Helene said, there's other versions where you do it over here and it's really sore and it does give you bruises and it's much, much harder. And that's often we do that when we do crow with straight arms, which is very, very difficult. It's huge amount of wrist strength, actually. It's a very advanced version of the pose. But yes, we start with this and just get lift off. And then a lot of the other arm balances, our knee is on the outside of our arm for all the crazy fancy ones like firefly pose, hurdler's pose. So it's a perfect place to just get comfortable with having your knees. Karen.
Yes, I just want to say from a short girl with arms and thigh issues, I would say the block was an absolute game changer for me.
Yay.
I never thought I would be able to do it because I've never been able to lift. But with that block, it's fabulous. It changed everything.
Oh, awesome. I love the block version. If I teach this pose, I always bring in the block because it just gets you in the right place and you're actually already lifted. All you have to do is kind of float your feet off and you're in the pose. So yay, well done, Karen. And the pillow as well is just to make you feel safe. I don't know if some of you guys use the pillow because it's scary. You don't want to, sometimes you do come down. It's part of the process of learning. At least you know you got the pillow there and you do a little squish and it's fine. So all of these things, because it's sometimes a mental process as well to lean forwards enough because you're scared your face is going to hit the floor. So we can bring in all these different aspects, which we'll chat so much more about when we look at arm balances and even inversions as well. Okay. So yes, Zama.
Hi. I found that I was very scared to do it. So when I almost shut down with the instructions because I was like, I can't believe she's about to make us do this.
That's completely normal and completely understandable, because when else in our everyday life do we stand and balance on our hands? It's crazy. So
Actually, I skip all those ones in the other classes. I'm like, I'm not doing it. There's no way I can lift my body like that. It's just not for me.
that's
So when you tried, I felt myself get so scared.
Yeah.
So scared.
That's
But-
completely understandable, Summer. And I promise we're going to revisit this again. And you know what's going to help you feel safer is now getting stronger. So when your arms feel stronger, mentally your nervous system is also like, okay, we've got this. We can do this. And it's a big process. We don't realize how much we use our arms in yoga. Yoga is very intensive on the arms. No other form of movement like Pilates and things like that use when we're on our balancing on our hands in plank, chaturangas, downward dogs. So now we're going to be doing so much more of that. You're going to feel your arms are going to feel completely different and stronger, and your wrists as well. Because if your wrists aren't strong enough, your brain is very clever. It'll go, you're not ready for this. We're not going to do this. So it's also a process, and just trust in the journey, and everything you're experiencing now is completely normal. So it's all good. It's all good.
It's normal initially because I feel like I feel a lot of pain here. Is that normal, I guess?
It is very sore, yeah. In the beginning, I used to actually get bruises on my arms after arm balances, especially if your skin is quite sensitive. So yes. And all of that stuff, you just you get more tolerant, I guess. Your body gets more used to it. And it's a process, and don't rush it. You'll get strong. And I promise you, by the end of this course, you're going to have that pose. I'll make a deal with you.
I'll hold you to that.
Deal. Eva?
Yeah, I was just going to say to Zama that one of the things that changed my ability to do the crow pose was actually start looking forward, because I used to look down, and so I was consistently freaked out that I'm gonna fall. But once I started looking forward, that fear kind of disappeared, because I didn't see the ground directly in front of me and how badly I'm gonna fall.
Spot on. Looking down is scary. And you'd go down. If you look down, you will fall down, because your head is quite heavy and it's adding to that counter-lever. So looking forwards is like the key to arm balancing. As I said, stick your head out like a tortoise, because you literally have to use your head to bring you forwards and look forwards. It sounds silly, but it really, really is helpful. You're so right, Eva. It's the key. And it's less scary. Yeah, great point there. Anything else around our Bakasana crow? Don't worry, you'll do this class during the week again, so you can revisit this pose and just explore it in your own time. Don't force yourself. Don't even worry about lifting both feet off the floor. Just kind of lean forwards and feel the shape, and then come out of the pose, and then just lean forwards, feel the shape. And then all of a sudden it's just going to be a natural process. Okay. And we'll do it again next weekend when I see you again. And we'll also break it down in more detail when we go through it as in your pose demonstrations. So you've got loads of time and you will get it. Okay. Well done, everyone. So we will continue with some pose breakdowns this morning. But before we go, I want to touch on some sun salutations. So during the week when you're practicing, we've got some options around sun salutations. Okay. Any questions before we proceed? Happy? Okay, so you've noticed in the classes, we've been doing a very basic sun salutation. Okay, we've just been holding in plank and then working that push strength into downward facing dog, because we know you guys are, you've been doing yoga, you're more experienced, but when we teach beginners, they need to build a little bit of strength in plank first before we visit chaturanga, because chaturanga is actually a really hard pose. It's an arm balance in itself. Okay, and a lot of things can go wrong in chaturanga if you don't have just some basic strength. Okay, so often you'll see, like in the classes, we just start plank into downward dog. And that transition, we can build a lot of that foundational strength. So I'm going to show you that once, you'll do it. And then I'm going to show you progressively how we can bring in the chaturangas. Okay. I'm going to leave my jersey on for now. I'm sure I'll be warmed up after this, but it's so cold in Cape Town. Okay. So for our basic sun salutation, which you're all, I'm sure, quite familiar with now through even just over this weekend, we start in Tadasana. Palms are facing forwards, chest is lifted. We rise up to high mountain, arms up, and we forward fold coming down. A good habit is to bring your hands back in line with your feet, okay? Even here in your forward fold where the knees are bent or straight, because we always stepping forwards and back between our hands, okay? So when we come down in forward fold, hands in line with feet, neck is relaxed, and we can allow the soft bend in the knees. Then we come into a halfway lift. We bring hands to shins to help get the spine to lengthen a little bit more in this half lift. For those with very flexy hamstrings, of course, they leave their fingertips on the ground. All right, we step back into plank, holding plank nice and strong, shoulders stacked over wrist, legs nice and active, and then we really work that push to move into downward facing dog. Okay. From here, I'll end it off and then I'll talk more. You can walk your feet to the top of the mat, which is the easiest way to get forwards. Halfway lift, forward fold, and rise back up to standing and release into Tadasana. Okay, so that is where we start with our sun salutations. Do you want to give that a go just to warm up? And then we'll add on after that. So come to standing at the top of your mat in Tadasana. Feet together, palms facing forwards. All right. And when you're ready, we inhale, take both arms up for high mountain, arms reaching up. And exhale, nice slow forward fold coming all the way down. And now bring your hands in line with your feet. Okay, it's just a good habit. Your knees can be a little bit bent if hamstrings are tighter, or legs straight if that feels fine. Inhale to a halfway lift. Bring your hands onto your shins and press your chest forward so we're creating a bit of length in the spine. Beautiful. Then place your hands on the floor and step back into plank. Of course, you could always alternate right foot and then step back left foot, depending on your preference. Hold in plank to build strength. So this is so good to just start that tricep strength. Okay, and now push into the mat as if your life depends on it to move into down dog. Slow, strong push. So that you're almost making your arms shake. Okay. And then we lift the hips up nice and high in downward dog. If hammies are tight, maybe you bend the knees a little bit to help you lift your bum higher. Yes, Sasha, that looked amazing. That's your down dog, Sasha. Perfect. And now let's just walk our feet forwards to the top of the mat, which is the most accessible for our beginners. Until we're standing between the hands. Then we inhale, halfway lift again to press the chest forwards, lengthen the spine and draw the shoulders down. Good. And then forward fold, head down and relax your neck. Hands in line with feet in forward fold. Good. Rise back up to standing. High mountain, inhale, arms up, reach up. Beautiful. And relax arms down to your sides. Well done. Okay, so this is where we'll start with teaching sun salutations. Okay, it's a nice, easy way to warm up. If I'm teaching an arm balancing class, maybe I'll just do this version because I don't want to tire out your arms with hundreds of chaturangas before we get into like a very big, strong arm balance. So sometimes it's a completely valid reason to do this, even in the advanced teacher training. When I'm teaching them something crazy where they're balancing on their arms, I just teach them plank into down dog so that their arms aren't exhausted by the time we get to their peak pose. I want them to have some energy left in their arms. So you can always teach this kind of version of sun salutations. Okay, any questions on that? Of course, I'll break down plank, downward dog, and all those poses in even more detail. But does that kind of make sense? Nice and accessible, which is what we want. We don't want our beginners to feel like, oh my God, yoga is so hard, I can't do this. Okay, so the next version, we'll bring in a kneeling chaturanga. Okay, so this is a nice way just to slow it down a little bit so that when we come down through chaturanga, we can think about what's happening in our shoulders. Okay, chaturanga can cause shoulder injury when it's done wrong. So it's very important to actually teach chaturanga, like crow. Don't just say chaturanga if you want to. It's a very big, important pose and it needs to be taught. One of my pet peeves in yoga is the knees, chest, chin version, where you stick your bum up in the air and you use no strength to lower. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's horrendous because it's cheating our students out of building strength that they need if they want to do arm balances and inversions later on. Okay, so chaturanga, just before we even go, shoulders. So as you just seated now as you are, bend your elbows into your sides. Okay, like this, like chaturanga arms is what I call them. So what we don't want in chaturanga is the shoulders to drop forwards like this. So just feel that. Your shoulders are rolling inwards, right? And that's going to put a lot of strain and cause niggles later on, especially if you're doing something like Ashtanga yoga, which I know a lot of you know, and you literally do about 30 of them as a warm-up. No jokes. It's real. If you do 30 chaturangas like this, your shoulders are going to get very sore. Okay, so we don't want that. What we want when we lower in chaturanga, so as if we're starting in plank, just in the air, and we bend our elbows into the sides, we want the collarbones to open and the shoulder blades to squeeze together like this. Okay, so this is why chaturanga, you don't have to go very low to the floor. It's actually quite upright. Okay, so from plank, chaturanga, my shoulder blades are joined together and my collarbones are opening. If I go too low, I'm going to end up dropping like this. For full ones, okay? We're going to lower all the way to the floor and keep that opening into the chest. Does that make sense? So now you can feel it here. We're going to incorporate that in the flow. So I'll show you first quickly, and then you'll give it a go as well. And again, it's your mantra today. Lean forwards, look forwards is the key to chaturanga. So I'll show you quick. Everything's all the same. Hastasana, forward fold, Uttanasana, hands to shins, halfway lift, stepping back for plank. Okay, so if we're kneeling chaturanga, I come from plank. I just bring my knees to the floor. Okay, so knees just come down. It's not like being on all fours where you're further back like this. It's from plank. So when I come here, can you see I'm in a kneeling plank position? You know, your bum sticking out in the air, okay? And you don't want your hips like this. You want to feel like you keep your plank and you just brought your knees to the floor and it should feel like you're in plank. It's strong and active, okay? Now from here, my mantra is to look forwards and I'm going to move forwards. If I don't move forwards, this is what happens. Then you get the nose, chin, chest thing, okay? If you go forwards, your body lowers as one. My hips, my chest, and my arms. Look forwards, lean forwards. Look forwards, lean forwards. Forwards, 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 onto the belly. Okay. Does that make sense? You're going to feel that a lot. So from plank, lower knees. Look forwards, lean forwards. You're going to do a 10-second lower to build those strength. 10 seconds as I lower, I squeeze my elbows in, and I open my collarbones I don't want my shoulders to roll forwards like this. That's what we don't want, okay? We want to keep, like you felt, collarbones open, shoulder blades drawing together, and everything comes down as one on the floor, okay? We point the toes, baby cobra, to build that lovely back strength we were talking about, and lower. And then we always do a reverse kneeling chaturanga, which is also really good to build tricep strength. I push back to kneeling, which is hard. Tuck toes, downward facing dog. Maybe then we introduce the stepping. And remember when we step, move the hand out the way, okay? And a trick, if someone can't step forwards, they can lower onto their knees, kneel up, step the foot, and then come through. I know some of you have had issues with that in the past, okay? So from downward dog, either stepping the hand out the way or kneeling and stepping forwards is sometimes easier for those that are a bit tighter or struggle with the step. We end the same, halfway lift, forward fold, and rise back up. Okay. Any questions before we go? All right, do you want to give it a bash? So I want that chaturanga nice and slow to the ground. Okay, so let's start in Tadasana, mountain pose. When you're ready, you can inhale both arms up, high mountain. And exhale, forward fold coming down. Good, hands in line with feet, create good habits. Nice, head is relaxed fully. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back into plank. Maybe step back with the left foot now if you want to alternate. Good, strong in your plank. So Sasha, make sure shoulders are stacked over wrists here. You're a little bit over your wrists. Yeah. Okay, so from plank, bring your knees straight down onto the floor. Pause here. Kneeling plank. Round out your lower back a bit, Ronelle. You're in a bit of a back bend. Tuck your bum and lift your hips up. Yes, Ronelle, that's it. Now look forwards. 10 seconds, go slow as you can. Begin bending your elbows. Now look forwards, lean forwards over your wrist. Go forwards like you did in crow today. Yes, squeeze those elbows in. Open your collarbones. Feel your shoulder blades coming together. Yes, Summer. So when that 10-second lower is happening, those arms are going to feel strong. You're going to practice that for me. Inhale, curl into a baby cobra. Point your toes. Draw your shoulder blades down and together. And don't scrunch your neck. Lengthen the back of your neck. Release your chest back down. Now push into kneeling without arching your back. Strong push back to kneel. Whoa. Yes. And back into down dog. Well done. That is going to build some awesome arm strength. Do you want to give it one more bash? Come forwards into plank. Don't overdo it, shoulder people. Bring knees to the ground. Look forwards. Feel your kneeling plank. Much better, Ronelle. Slow lower in 10, 9, 8. Go forwards. 7, 6. Squeeze elbows in. Open collarbones. 5. Go forwards more. Forwards more. 3, 2. Go forwards more. All the way onto your belly. And 1. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, slow lower. Watch, don't scrunch your neck in baby cobra. Now strong push, like a reverse chaturanga. Whoa, work those arms. Yes. Tuck toes, downward dog. Well done. Gaze to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or jump to your hands. You want to try this stepping? Okay. Halfway lift. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, forward fold. So we almost flow up in reverse. Rise up to standing, high mountain. Exhale, release, Tadasana, mountain pose. Okay, so that's the version I would like you to please practice over the next coming week. 10-second lowers in that chaturanga. You can feel your arms are working hard, right? And then the push from lying down on your tummy, pushing back to kneeling without doing a big back bend to really get your triceps, your tricep muscles strong. Okay. 10-second lows without cheating. Any questions, Sama? You felt that. That's good. That's your homework.
I did. I just wanted to confirm, as you're going down, you're going forward and tucking in. So
Yes.
tucking in.
Yes. Yes. You're correct. So you're looking forwards, leaning forwards, squeezing elbows towards your side. So your elbows kind of brush past your rib cage, and you're keeping that opening across the shoulders so that the shoulders don't roll forwards, which all of you actually got really nicely. And you just have to make sure that you come from your plank, that you get the distance. Like Zani, you've come from all fours. Now it's too narrow. Bring your hands more forwards so that you come from, that's it. Now lean your bum forwards. Okay. Because if you come from hands and knees, it's too narrow. You have to come from plank. So you're on that little diagonal to lower. Okay. Because eventually you'll be lowering straight from plank. Yes, Zani, that's better. So Zani's going to squeeze her elbows in. Can you all see her? Open across her collarbones. Lean more forwards, Zani. More forwards, more forwards. Squeeze your elbows in. More forwards. Yes, more forwards, more forwards. Yes, Zani. Yes, can you see how she went forwards? Then it helps her bum. It bums up a little bit, but it's fine. She'll get that. It stops you from landing up with your hips in the air. Thanks, Zani. That was a great demonstration. Cool. So please practice that. Don't overdo it. This is to progressively build your strength over the next few weeks. By the end of this course, I would love you all to be doing full chaturangas, and those that have been doing Ashtanga probably are very familiar with those, but we just want to build that strength slowly, okay, so that you don't injure your shoulders. If you push too much, you're going to get sore. So maybe every second day, like maybe break tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, work chaturanga lows. Did you just progressively build up strength? Okay. I'm going to just demonstrate. You don't have to do the full version, but just so that you have an overall idea of how we build for sun salutations. And a lot of the time, your students might not even do this full version because the upward facing dog is not the best back bend. Cobra is more back strengthening. With upward facing dog, you kind of just hang in your lower back. There's no strength. There's not as much benefit as doing a baby cobra. Okay. The chaturanga is awesome because you're building awesome, strong strength. And then we're just basically stepping up on those 2 points. I'll just show you very quickly. Okie dokie. So for full sun air, I say like the more advanced version, we inhale arms up. Sometimes nice to add a little back bend, especially if you are teaching back bends. And then forward fold. Halfway lift. Step or jump back into plank, holding plank. So for full chaturanga, I'm going to keep my knees off the floor, and I'm still going to go way forwards. So I'm actually going to start. Can you look where my feet are? This is kind of this is what people don't understand with full chaturanga and up dog. You go forwards a whole foot's distance, and that is why your feet flip over and then flip back. Okay, that is kind of the whole reason, because you go forwards, which we're not often told. So from my plank, I go to my tops of toes. I lower chaturanga and I hover off the floor. I go even more forwards for up dog, and that's why my feet are flipped. Lifting chest, and then I roll over my feet to push back for downward dog. And then you can end with a step, walk or jump, and flow your way back to standing. So we'll discuss that more later on in the course. Can you see that's the reason why you flip your feet in a full sun salutation? A lot of us, I didn't realize that for a long time. It's literally because you need to move so far forwards in chaturanga, and then even more forwards in upward dog. It's crazy and it's hard. Hard on your wrists, hard on your arms, very big back bend, but we'll get there a little later on. Sound good? Questions? All feeling okay? Caroline.
Hi, I have a question about baby cobra. I firstly don't know where to look, if I look up or straight forward, and then secondly, my knees, should they lift off the ground, or should they,
Yeah.
when you
Yes, good questions. I'm going to show you because it'll be the easiest to see. So for baby cobra, because there are really good questions, we'll also break down in more detail later on, but it's a good point to have it now. I've lowered, my hands are going to be roughly under my shoulders. I'm going to lift up just to about here. And remember, Caroline, your mantra is neck in line with spine. So if I was in a massive back bend, head would be gazing up. But because I'm not lifting very high, my neck is just following the line of my spine. We don't want to drop the head back. We want to keep the back of the neck lengthened, following that line. Okay. And then yes, because your quads are active, your knees will lift off the floor. My knees don't hyperextend, but they still lift off the floor. So yours will lift off more than mine. But yes, knees will be off the mat because your quads are active. Gaze is slightly forwards, neck in line with spine. Release, push. Okay. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you so much. I find this version of chaturanga, it's also quite strong as well. It's pretty much the same.
Sometimes people find, especially if you're used to doing full chaturangas, you may find the kneeling chaturanga harder. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, it's quite tough. You really feel it.
You really feel it. And the slow lowers build, as you guys know, the slower the better, builds some amazing tricep strength. So this is where we want to get that cooking now for you guys. Okay, Sani.
Hi.
Hi.
I've got a question about, as you saw now, my lower back drops a bit because I've got a curve here in my upper back.
Yeah.
Which sometimes makes even just touching the floor in sun salutations, my hamstrings don't pull, my upper back pulls. But in any case, so when I'm trying to go into plank or whatever, I get this rounding in my back.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Because I'm always trying to focus on not having that rounding when I go forward.
Yeah.
But naturally, I feel like I'm stronger this. I don't know.
I think it's a balance between the two there, Zani. So go on to hands and knees on all fours, because this is a really nice place to feel the shoulder blade placement. So on all fours here, your shoulder blades are, it's kind of neutral. It's just natural. That's how you want to be in plank. And it's fine if you've got a more exaggerated curve of your spine. That's totally fine because that's your natural curves. It's all good. If you had space, could you step back into plank now, Zani?
I think if I move forward a little bit.
So practice your plank from here, from all fours, and then nothing moves, step back. Yes, and now that's your perfect plank, okay? Now lower your knees straight to the floor from here. Pause there. Now that's your kneeling plank. And now your back looks fabulous. Then
my abs are killing.
Good. That's what we want. That's your placement for your kneeling chaturanga now. Okay. So I mean the rounding is it's just a different way of doing plank, but for the purpose of chaturanga, we want those shoulder blades coming together and best to start from a more neutral placement like you are in now.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, great demonstration. Nice for you guys to see as well. Any other questions with sun salutations? We will go into it even more detail, but just so that you have something to practice in the next coming week. Okay, and go slow. Don't overdo it, okay? If your shoulder starts going, oh, I've had enough, back off and give it a break. Okay, because shoulders work very hard in yoga and you don't want to overdo it and land up with a sore shoulder. It often happens because everyone wants to do all these arm balances, and it's a process, and you will get it all by the end of this course, but the first few weeks we just need to build up slowly. Okay, cool. So let's go back into our poses on page 56. Start off where we ended last night. For Utthita Parsvakonasana, side angle pose is what we call it. Okay, so we did our warrior 2 and we did our triangle pose, and this is a little bit of a combination of the two. Okay, the feet are the same as in triangle and warrior 2. I will show you and then we'll come into it together. Okay. So for side angle pose, I'm going to get my stance placement from plank into downward dog and step 1 foot forward. I can ground my back heel and come from a warrior 2 pose. So just a reminder, front foot is turned out 90 degrees, back foot is turned in slightly, heel of my front foot is in line with the arch of my back foot, just like warrior 2 and triangle pose. So these all link in really nicely together. I'm going to come from a warrior 2 position. So my legs are the same in side angle as they are in warrior 2. Okay. From here, my first option is to bring my elbow onto the thigh. When I do that, you really want to watch, because this is in your assessment, that you don't sink in your bottom shoulder like this. You want to press that forearm down to keep your shoulder away from your ear. Okay. Then this top arm, the easiest positioning, because the shoulder can be a little bit tough to get over, and then you land up like this. If you take your hand down to the floor first and you do a nice circular movement, it helps to get your arm in an ideal position. Okay. Where sometimes if you come from here, it's less comfortable for the bones. It depends on your shoulder. Okay. Can you see the side diagonal line that I've created with my body? This is why it's called side angle pose. And that's what we're looking for. Okay. I'm going to twist my chest open and push down through the bottom forearm. Okay. That's version 1, a modified version with the elbow on the thigh. For the full version, which you will also demonstrate if it's good for you, from my warrior 2, I'm going to bring my hand to the floor. Again, I like to do fingertips because my arms aren't very long. You could also, just for future reference, put your hand on a block, which would also be fine. If maybe your inner thighs were a bit tighter or your arms were maybe a bit shorter, this is also a great option. Okay. Again, this is going to feel a bit stickier for the shoulder. For most people, sweeping down to the floor and then bringing that arm overhead feels more comfortable for the shoulder joint. Okay. And then I'm going to think of twisting my chest open to the side. And that, again, you see that side angle pose. Knees stacked over ankle like warrior 2 and side angle with a twist. All right. Do you want to give it a go and see how it feels from there? So let's go from plank and into downward dog. Just to get our stance. When you're ready, step your right foot forwards between your hands. Open up for warrior 2. Ground your back heel and turn to the side of your mat. Check your feet. Front foot turn out 90 degrees, back foot turned in. Bend the front knee so your knee stacks over your ankle. Nice deep lunge. Okay. First variation, bring your right elbow onto your thigh and make sure you don't sink into your shoulder. Push your forearm down to move your shoulder away from your ear. Nice. Now your left hand, sweep it down to the floor and then over in line with your left ear And keep lunging deep in that front knee, Cherise. Yes, bend that knee a bit more. Yes, perfect. Now, twist your chest open. Turn your ribs to the side. Yes, nice. And Elena, just press down through your bottom elbow a little bit more. Bring your ribs in a bit because you're very flexy, so don't arch your back too much. Ribs in and then twist. Yes, Elena, you got it. Well done. Good. Come back up to standing. Let's just turn on the feet to feel that on the other side, okay? So left, turn your feet parallel, and then left foot out, right toes turn in, or if you want to face the screen or anything you need, change legs. Warrior 2 on the left side. Bring left elbow onto the thigh, but don't sink in the shoulder. Better with those ribs, Elena. Nice. Sweep your right hand down to the floor and then over in line with your ear. Now, lean shoulders back a little bit and twist your chest to the side. Big turn in the ribs. Yes, nice everyone. And then come up to standing, release, shake it out. So Karen, I need your feet a little bit wider on your mat. Okay, we're gonna try the full version now. Okay, so when you're ready, you can flow again from plank downward dog if you want, or if your feet are already wide, you can come from standing. Right foot forwards, warrior 2. That's better, Karen, a bit wider. Wider, 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 wider. Yes. So when you bend your front knee, your knee stacks over ankle. Nice, Helene. That's a nice stack. Demi, you can also, yes, Demi, that looks better. Now bring your right fingertips to the floor in front of your right ankle. Your hand can also go behind your ankle. It depends on you. Beyond the fingertips, and now bend your right knee to keep the stack of knee over ankle. I like the hand on the inside of the ankle because you can nudge your right knee back, Trudy. Try both, see what you like. Can you feel like you can nudge that thigh back now? Sweep your left hand to the floor and then over in line with your ear. If you prefer it behind, Trudy, whatever's best for your body. Now lean your shoulders back and twist your chest to the side. Yes, and Eva, see if you can really straighten that top elbow. Yes, gorgeous. Inhale, come up. Nice use of the block there, Carmel. That looks great. And windmill your arms back into down dog. We'll feel that on the other side. Okay. Left foot steps forwards between the hands. Take warrior 2 to the left. Make sure you're wide enough so that your knee stacks over your ankle. Yes. Then bring left fingertips down to the mat or onto the block and sweep the right hand first down to the floor and then over in line with your ear. Lean your shoulders back and twist your chest open. Twist, 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 twist. Yes, Elena, nice pose. Beautiful. Yes, Summer, gorgeous. Yes, nice, Noel. Let's inhale, come up. And release arms back to down dog. Okay. When you're ready, you can come and have a seat and let me know if you have any questions there. Okay, quite a strong pose. So what I'm seeing with a lot of you is remember to keep your feet wide, okay? Nice wide stance so that your knee stays stacked over your ankle, okay? In all these poses, like the triangle, remember when I said look down in triangle and lean your shoulders back a little bit. It's the same with this one. You've got to lean back a bit, which helps you to then twist. If you lean forwards, you can't twist as much. By having that sense of a slight lean back in triangle as well as side angle, helps you to rotate the chest to the side. Okay, Trudy.
Yeah, that was my question was actually, but you'd answered it while I was busy with the hand outside of the, yeah, I don't know, that was the way I had learned it, or that was what I had worked towards, because I was yeah, I didn't know. Yeah.
Both
But,
is totally fine, Trudy. Always whatever suits your body best. For beginners, it's easier, but on the inside, because you can nudge that that bottom knee back to keep that external rotation. Where when it's on the outside, you have to check yourself. So, but both is totally cool. Whose hand was up and then disappeared? Oh, okay, we're good.
Me.
Summer.
Zama. I just wanted to ask about the hand. How do you place the hand? Is it flat down? Is it on your tippy toes like that?
On your fingertips, like a little cupcake hand.
Okay.
So for that, again, it's like when we did our lunges, when we went on our fingertips, it helps to keep the chest lifted, where flat hands tends to drop the chest. So you got like a little cupcake hand like that.
Okay.
Okay. Nice, and you're quite light on that hand, so your legs are working quite hard. Okay. Well done, everyone. I'm going to come back to the last two poses when we meet again and recap, because I really want to get into some balances today so that you can go over them over the next week as well. So I'm going to jump forwards a little bit and do them in my own order, if you don't mind, just because I want to focus on the big important ones so that you have more time to practice. So if you can come to page 64 in your manual, we're going to talk about Warrior 3. So lucky we've done it in the class, so I'm sure you have quite a good idea around all your options in Warrior 3. This pose and then the next one we're doing Half Moon, these require a little bit of practice because they are the harder balances. So I'm going to give you more time to kind of understand them and go through them. So for Warrior 3, we got one leg forwards and we got one leg back. Does anyone know what we call this action in the legs? When one leg goes behind you, it's called hip extension. I could see Trudy mime that. And when the one leg is coming in front of you, forwards, it's called what?
Hip flexion.
Hip flexion, yes. Okay, so we got one leg forwards in hip flexion and one leg back in hip extension. I know that seems like still a bit overwhelming, but the more we can put it into movement, the more it makes sense. Okay, what other poses do we have one leg forwards and one leg back? One leg in flexion, one leg in extension. We chatted about it yesterday.
Warrior 1.
Yes.
2.
Warrior 1 and high lunge. Yes. What other poses where we have the scissoring action? Trudy?
Pyramid.
Pyramid pose, 100%.
Hanumanasana.
Yes, Hanumanasana and standing splits. Yes. Okay, so now we can kind of see how these poses all link together, right? Cool. Well done. So for this pose, remember we had different arm versions. We had either hands in prayer or airplane arms back, and the hardest one with arms overhead. Why was it way harder?
It increases weight.
Yes, exactly. It's heavier. There's more load, which makes it harder and is more strengthening. Okay, so absolutely well done. I will show you the pose and then we'll come into it together. Okay, so for Warrior 3, we enter this pose from a high lunge. Because one leg is forwards and one leg is back, it has the similar joint action. So from a high lunge, I can first think about bringing hands to the center of the chest and keeping the collarbones broad. You can often step in if you need to, or maybe straight away you lift the back leg. Okay, my tip for entry into Warrior 3 to keep your hips more parallel to the floor is to keep this bottom leg bent. Okay, when that leg bends, it's easier to square the hips to the floor, squeeze the back leg up, get your balance. I don't mind if you point, floint, or flex the back foot. The flex is quite useful because you can think of turning your toes to the floor, which is quite cool. Okay. Then from here, I'm focusing my drishti for balance. My gaze is just forwards in front of me, so neck is in line with spine. Then from here, I can aeroplane arms out, or I can send arms forwards, which is the harder version for warrior 3. And I step back for high lunge. Okay, so my tips are bend your bottom leg, okay? It'll really help you to get your balance and get your hips straight. I don't mind which arm version you choose. If you want hands here, or here, or here. Find what works best for your body, okay? Feel what feels good for your back foot. Have it pointed, flointed, or flexed, okay? Flex is quite nice, like we did in the warrior 3 sequence, just as an indicator of what's happening in your back leg. So check in with those points, okay? So when you're ready, come from high lunge. You can step forwards from downward dog. Right leg forwards into high lunge when you're ready. Let's bring hands to the center of the chest in high lunge. Look forwards and focus your drishti. Lean forwards in your chest. Shift your weight to your front foot and keep that bottom leg bent now. Look forwards and step into warrior 3, floating the back leg up. Okay, keep the bottom leg bent for a moment to square your hips and squeeze your back leg high up at the back. Yes. Keep your collarbones open, right? So lift your chest a bit, Eva. Lift your chest like you're in a baby cobra. Yes. Now send your arms back into aeroplane. And when you're ready, if you want, you can circle your arms forward. So Sasha, think of keeping your back leg strong and straight. Strong, straight, active back leg. Chest is still lifted. Big step back to high lunge when you're ready. I know it's tough. And back into down dog. Well done. So important, because we get so focused on the back leg, to not forget about the chest staying upright. Other side when you're ready. Left foot steps forwards for high lunge. Inhale, arms up. Good. Bring hands to the center of your chest and make a conscious reminder here to squeeze your shoulder blades together and keep your collarbones open. Yes, nice, Eva. Now shift your weight into your front foot. Gaze forwards, lock on your drishti. Squeeze the back leg up. Maybe you keep the bottom leg bent while you get everything in place. Back leg is strong, straight, and active. And then play with different arm variations. Go on lifting the back leg. Keep stretching the back knee. Go on, Sasha, stretch that back knee. Yes, that's better. Lift your chest wherever you are. Collarbones stay lifted. Big step back into a high lunge when you're ready. Good. And back into down dog. Okay. Take a little breather. I know that one's quite strong. Okay. So over the next week, I would love for you to record yourself. You can either turn your little Zoom thing on and watch yourself so you have something to check against, or use your phone or whatever device to record and then have a look, because in these poses, it feels like you've got your leg way high and it may not be. Or it feels like your back leg is straight and it may not be. Or it'll feel like your chest is lifted, but it's not. So it's really nice. And I think it's really good skill work to practice on yourself, correct yourself. Because soon you'll be correcting your students. And it takes a bit of time for your eyes to kind of spot what is going on. So you may look at the pose and go, there's something happening there, but I don't know what it is. And then on yourself, you can kind of check, do I need to straighten my back leg more? Do I need to lift my chest up higher? What is it that needs to be kind of refined? Okay, so we understand how to get into the pose and your options there. Now video yourself and see if you can find your ideal pose. Okay. Any questions around Warrior 3? And you will also do it again when you do the forward bend class. So you can also check yourself after that when you're nice and warmed up for it. Okay. These ones take quite a bit of practice to really get right because there's a lot going on and then you're thrown into a balance. So, I mean, your mind is working overtime. Okay. Any questions?
I'm just reading the manual and it says for the practical, do all versions. What exactly does that mean?
So in the manual, or is it talking about, so just practice all the versions with your hands. So hands in center of chest, airplane arms, and arms overhead. And you might just find, listen, I can't do it with my arms overhead. It just doesn't work for my body. And then that's cool. Or you might prefer it. So practicing all versions so that you get familiar with them. Sometimes it's harder when your hand's in the center of the chest, you kind of forget to open your chest. So all versions have an element of thought. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Emma. All right, if you guys are feeling happy with that, then I'll proceed to the next one, which is on page 67. So I'm just doing this totally in my own order today. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Okay, this is another tricky one. Okay, so the bottom foot is turned out 90 degrees. What is happening in the legs? How is it different to Warrior 3? First of all, in the hip, what is happening in the bottom hip? What's that, Sasha?
Facing almost forward.
Yes. So the hip is doing what action?
External rotation.
External rotation. You've got it. So where Warrior 3, the hips were parallel. Now for half moon pose, we are externally rotating the bottom leg, which is the same as what other poses we've done?
Warrior 2.
Warrior 2. And the two others?
About that pyramid pose.
Triangle, pyramid. Remember your hips are parallel, so more like Warrior 3. What other two poses? Like Warrior 2 was one of them, and
Prasarita.
Prasarita, you're actually going to be parallel. But the last one we did, side angle pose. The bottom leg is externally rotated, remember? And the last one is triangle pose. So if you look at your half moon pose here, it's pretty much the exact same as triangle. Can you see that? Especially if you turn your manual on its side and get her to stand her feet on the floor. She's actually in triangle. Maybe her hand's not on her shin, but the legs are the same as triangle pose. You see that? So they have the exact same action. She's just putting it into a balance. So we enter half moon pose from a triangle pose because they're so similar. Okay. The big thing that I want you to make a note of in this one, like a little extra star, NB, important, the hand placement. That bottom hand that's either coming onto the floor or a block, you're going to have options there. The hand isn't directly underneath the shoulder like this, okay? It's going to be slightly back, slightly off to the side, okay? And the reason for that is when your hand is slightly back, it gives you more stability, first of all, and it helps you to twist your chest open. If your hand is underneath the shoulder, it makes it harder for your chest to open. So it's your tip of the day in half moon pose is the bottom hand placement is crucial. It's kind of make or break in this pose. If your hand is too close towards you or not out to the side enough, you won't have as much balance and you won't be able to turn your chest as much. Okay, so that's the big one I want you to take from this pose today. So I often say it's awesome with a block, especially if your hamstrings are a little bit tighter. Use a block. All right, let me just make this bigger. Okay. So from that, I'm going to have my block handy. And even when I place my block here, I'm not going to have it in line with my front foot. I'm going to take it off to the side of my foot. Okay, and that's what I mean about having it slightly behind you. Okay, not in line, but behind. Okay, so I'll have my block towards the back edge of my mat, coming into my triangle pose. I'm going to bend my front knee, and quite nice to actually put your top hand on your hip to remind you your chest needs to face the side, okay? I reach my hand forwards for the block, and sometimes you'll have to step in and then move your block forwards again, okay? So my block isn't forwards here in line with my foot. It's going to be more to the right side of my mat. And when I come into the pose, it's vertically down from my shoulder, but my hand is behind my foot. And then I can get a really nice balance and twist my chest open in half moon pose. So to show you that from the side, so you know what I'm talking about, my block isn't in line with my toes. It's off to the side. When I come forwards, here's my block. And that actually helps me to get the alignment of half moon. If my block is here, can you see how my shoulders are leaning forwards? And often, I've got my foot on the wall now, I'm cheating, but often you will fall over because it's less stable, okay? The common thing that happens in half moon because of the hand placement is the shoulders swing forwards and the leg swings back like this, rather than bringing it back into alignment. Does that make sense? Okay, and then if you have a block, it's quite nice. If you don't have a block, you can also do it without the block. Then your hand is not here, it's out to the side, but underneath the shoulder. Okay, so that's your main point to look at when coming into this pose. So let's come from plank and into downward dog to start off in triangle pose. Okay. When you're ready, stepping right foot forwards and opening up into your triangle pose. Okay, so your chest in triangle is how we want the chest to feel in half moon. Turn to the side, okay? So Trudy, lean your shoulders back over your bottom shin. Yes! Now your chest is beautifully open. Okay, bend your right knee. Slide your right hand forwards. Now take that hand behind your foot and forwards. So it's towards the right edge of your mat, yeah? Then, now Ronelle, bring your block more forwards. As you step into half moon pose, you'll have to kind of slide your hand or your block more forwards again. It's kind of not a one-step thing. Yes. It makes sure your hand is slightly behind you. And Zama, bring your hand a bit more forward so it's still vertically underneath the shoulder. Yes. Now lift your back leg up high. And now you can lean on your block or your hand and twist your chest open. Because that hand is kind of behind you, can you feel all of you are balancing here for really long? Twist your chest open. Yes. Gorgeous. Big step back. Through triangle, back into down dog. Can you feel how that hand changes everything? Okay, other side. Left foot steps forwards for triangle pose. Lean your shoulders back so your chest is open here in your triangle. Yes. Now bend your left knee. Slide your left hand forwards and take it behind you. Behind the left foot. Good. Then as you step in, you'll have to slide your left hand forwards again. It's kind of like a two-part thing. Make sure hand is underneath the shoulder and slightly behind you. Then again, lean your shoulders back slightly. twist chest open. Sasha, bring your bottom hand forwards a little bit more ahead of you. Yes, now that's great. And when that hand is in the right place, boom, the pose works. Can you feel the difference? Nice, Charisse, nice pose there. Gorgeous. Yes, Sasha, that's great. Well done. Nice, Elena. Big step back. And release back to down dog. Well done. Okay. Take a little breather. How did that feel? Okay, can you see if the hand's in the right place, the whole pose works. I don't even need to tell you what to do with your legs. It just happens. Okay, so over the next week, just really drill that into your head. You make it feel like your new natural way of doing half moon. It really, really helps. And it's going to help your students so much. You could feel how spot on your balance was there. Okay. Any questions around half moon pose?
Demi,
and then we'll come to you, Charisse.
So I realized that my right ankle is strong enough to not wobble. I can hold it quite long, but my left ankle, which is one of my worst injuries on my body, it can't actually hold the weight of me leaning, even though I feel stable. It's almost collapsing. So what can you do to help that?
So, I mean, don't hold for too long at the moment. I think the more balancing work you do, it's going to be really great strengthening for that left foot. Don't push it that it's sore now, but we'll just make it stronger over the next few weeks by holding balancing poses, but just a little bit shorter. And maybe easier ones, like we'll come back to like tree pose and those kind of positions where you're not having as much load forwards or back. So it will come along, Demi, don't worry. And if you need to come out of the pose sooner because of any reason, that's also understandable. But main thing is always make it strong. If there's injury or if there's pain, make it strong. Charisse?
I am struggling to get from the high lunge or that transitioning. Can you please just show it one more time?
Of course. From high lunge into warrior 3. Or from the one we just did, now, or from high lunge into warrior 3.
Yes.
From triangle, okay.
From high lunge into the one we did now.
Okay, so we're not coming from high lunge, we're coming from triangle pose.
Okay.
So
but we started with a high lunge, didn't we?
On the first one. So for warrior 3, we came from high lunge. And then for this pose, half moon pose, because we're open, we got the chest to the side, we're coming from our triangle. So maybe that was the problem. Let me just show you one more time.
If you don't mind.
Okay, so I'm coming from here, from triangle pose, chest facing the side, and then I'm stepping into half moon pose. And when you step up and you slide the hand, and then you have to slide that hand again.
So if you are from here, so you step your foot in.
Yes.
Then open into.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
Cool. I know it is a bit confusing. So this is why it's all going to integrate when you spend a little bit of time practicing on your own next week. And then you're going to go, how did I come into that pose again? How does it work? And if you get confused, remember this is recorded, so you can always go back and have a look if you get a little bit confused, or just WhatsApp me as well to check. Okay. All right. Thanks, Charisse. You're feeling confident now. Know what's going on. Cool, cool, cool. One more pose. Dancer's pose. Okay, this one's also in your assessment, and it's actually half dancer. The full dancer is really advanced, and you got both arms overhead holding your foot or a strap, which I will show you when we do big back bends. But we'll only be doing half dancers in our assessment. Okay. So this one, again, we've got one leg forwards in hip what?
Extension.
Forwards, inflection.
Inflection, okay.
And then the back leg, Demi, is then in, like you wanted to say?
Extension.
That's correct. Okay. It's confusing. So what helps you to remember flexion and extension, well, what helped me to remember is flexion, the bones are kind of coming closer together. Okay. In this case, you're kind of in a bit of a forward fold in that front hip, right? And extension is moving away from you. So your back leg moves away from you for extension. Flexion, you move forwards. Extension, you move away and back or behind. Okay, but you'll find a way to remember it for yourself. Okay, so this is a bit of a back bend. Oh, your page is number 66, Karen. Sorry, doing it in my own order today. Cool. So again, your hand placement for dancers pose. When you hold your back foot, if we start in Tadasana, you take your arm back, and this is shoulder extension. Okay, this would be shoulder flexion. This is shoulder extension, going behind you, moving away from the body. Okay, my thumb is pointing up, so my arm is rotated outwards. Okay, when I bend my foot, I hold the inside arch of my foot. So a little bit closer, my hand turns out, and I hold the inside arch of my foot. Okay, if you hold like this, your shoulder's going to roll forwards, and you won't be able to get your leg up as high. So that hand placement is important. Hand turns outwards, thumb is up to the ceiling, holding the inside arch of the foot. Okay, first of all, I'm going to be upright. And your first version of dancer is just to be in an upright position. Okay, so I'm thinking of kicking my foot into my hand, and your emphasis in this pose is to get your back leg up as high as possible. That's your focus, okay? The hip extension part, the back bend part. So I'm going to kick my foot up at the back, and I can just stay upright if I want. Then you could also bring in the hip flexion by leaning forwards, focusing eyes for balance, and kicking the back foot up higher. Okay, to come out of the pose, squeeze thighs together to bring in more stability. Okay, so I don't mind if you don't lean forwards. What we're looking for in this pose is to get your back leg up into hip extension. Okay, do you want to give it a go, and then we'll see if we have any questions from there. Come to stand in Tadasana. Okay, so palms are facing forwards. Take your left hand and turn the thumb up to the ceiling and take your arm behind you from Tadasana. Okay, stand on your right foot and bend your left knee as you take hold of the inside of the foot, so the big toe side of the foot. Yeah, that hand placement is what's important. Now, reach your right arm overhead and focus your eyes, your drishti, for balance. Now stay upright and just kick your left foot into your left hand and see how high you can lift your back thigh up. Back arm is straight at the back and you're kicking your foot away from you. Yes. Now this might be enough. Option then to then lean forwards if you want a bit more and continue to kick your back toes up to the ceiling and lift your back thigh up higher. Make it all about your back leg. Kick up and back, kick up and back, kick up and back. And then to come out of the pose, squeeze your inner thighs for stability, because it's actually a really hard pose to get out of because we're so stretched. I know, big back bend as well. And release. Okay, can you feel the hand placement is vital for this one? Feel it on the other side. Send your right palm back with the thumb facing up to the ceiling. Okay, hold the inside arch of your foot there, Eleanor. So your thumb is pointing up. Other side of the foot. Yes, but now your arm's in the wrong position. I know it's so confusing. Start again. Okay, we'll go through it again. Don't worry. Top arm reaches up. Kick your back foot into your hand. And then lift the back leg up. Keep your chest fairly upright for now. Make it about the back leg. It's not about folding forwards. It's about kicking the back foot up high. Yes, kick up and back, kick up and back, kick up and back, and maybe leaning forwards and go on lifting the back leg up. Yes, and then slowly come up, squeeze thighs together and release. Okay, all about the back leg in that pose. Eleanor, can I run through that with you with the hand and foot? Okay, so let's come to standing together when you're ready. Okay, so Eleanor, turn your hand. So stand in Tadasana, palms facing forwards. Okay, then just send it to your left hand that's facing me. Just reach that arm behind you now. Yes, but turn your thumb up to the ceiling a little bit more. There. Okay, now leave your hand like that. Bend your left knee and then hold the big toe side of your foot without changing your arm. Yeah, use the chair. Yes, like that. Can you feel that? So you're holding the inside and your thumb is up with the external rotation arm. It's really tricky. I promise. It's like so confusing to get. Because now I think, Eleanor, you can get your back leg higher because you're very flexible in this. Yeah, and kick the back toes up because your shoulder might just take some getting used to now. The shoulder will have more range of movement like this than it will by holding the inside of the foot. I mean, the outside of the foot. I'm losing my words. Okay, questions? Caroline.
I was wondering whether it's fine if I hold my ankle.
Yeah,
Just
totally cool.
because-
I could see you holding your ankle there. That's totally fine. If that feels more stable for you, absolutely. It's like, I'm just happy that your arm is in the right position because it just works better that way, and which you had. So that's perfectly fine.
Me, Zama.
Zama.
I find that the stability leg is shaking a lot for both these moves. This one and was the previous one that we just did.
Half moon.
The half moon. It's shaking quite a bit, so I think the shaking is causing me to kind of not be able to lift up.
Zama, are you on a carpet at home?
Yes.
Okay, carpets make things way harder.
No, it's not a carpet, it's a mat, sorry.
Oh, okay, but the mat isn't on a carpet.
No. It's
Oh,
on the
okay.
floor.
So you'll get stronger, Zama. Don't worry about it. The shaking is good because it's working your ankle stability and also hip stability. The more you do it, the more stable you'll get. Balance is one of those things. It's like a skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And I think the shaking is good. It's fantastic. It's just making you stronger, and that bottom leg is working hard.
I also just wanted to check the foot placement. Is it straight for both of them? Is it straight forward or is it slightly tilted? Or
Yes. So Zama, because for dancer's pose, we come from Tadasana with mountain pose with feet parallel. So yes, when you take your 1 foot back for dancers, the bottom foot stays parallel.
okay.
That actually reminds me, Zama, while you plant something in my head, your back leg, okay? It's okay for your hips to open in dancer's pose, okay? Because it makes your leg go higher. Remember when we did Warrior 3, look here, and you can feel it if you want. When we do like 3-legged dog, and I keep my hips parallel, it only goes so far, right? If I allow my hips to open, my leg goes way higher. Okay, and it's the same for dancers. If I keep my hips parallel, my leg is only going to lift so high. If I let my hips open just a little bit, not too much that you fall over, then it'll take your leg higher up at the back. Okay, so that's also a useful tip, and we'll talk more about it when we do, especially things like standing splits, which is a great way to feel it. If you want to do a full split, your hips have to open, which is big concepts now, don't worry about it. But basically, if your hips open, your leg goes higher. And you're allowed to do that in dancer's pose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Emma, for reminding me on that point. Helene, did you have a question? I saw you unmuted yourself. You good?
I had one, but I think it was answered. I don't remember.
Okay,
now.
cool. I gave a very long-winded answer, and then you probably forgot. Okay. Any other questions around your dancer's pose? Caroline?
I know you just said we can open our hips, but you mean we can open our hips as wide as we want?
Yes.
In dance pose. Wow, okay.
So it's to increase range of movement. So if I was teaching you Warrior 3, I would say hips squared, because that's what we want from the pose. If you want to do dancer's pose and get your legs into full splits or something radical, naturally you have to let your hips open. It's just how our bone structure works. So it's actually really interesting. You'll actually probably see it now in your anatomy videos. When your leg goes at the back into hip extension, and you keep your hips parallel, your leg only lifts 30 degrees. So that's like not very high behind you, right? And that's a lot. Some people even less. If you want your leg to go higher and do like a split, you have to allow your hips to open. We allow for external rotation basically, and then the leg goes higher. So I'm saying that's totally cool if you want to do a bigger expression of dancer's pose. Yes, allow the hips to open as much as you want, really. Quite exciting. Hey, it's like you have all the freedom to move now. Okay, any other questions around, we did some big poses today. Warrior 3, half moon, and dancer's pose. Because there's quite a lot going on there, I would love it for you to please practice those and all the other poses we've learned this weekend in the next coming week. Okay, quite important because you're going to be learning more poses. So you kind of want to feel that you've got these. Often in the courses, I ask for more pictures for Warrior 2, side angle and triangle pose. Okay, often I say, come back to me. I want it to be more refined. Okay, so because there's a lot going on in those poses. And also with these last 3, Warrior 3, half moon and dancers are the 3 balancing poses. I often also require more work from you. So because they're hard and because they're main poses, you're going to teach them a lot, that you want to look really good demonstrating the poses within your body's stuff. I understand if hamstrings are tighter or this or that, that's completely understandable, that we find your best version of these poses. Okay, so these are like main poses that we learned this weekend. Okay. Wide stance is often something I also correct. Natural hips, also something I want you to understand. Especially if your hammies are a little bit tighter. Like remember Demi demonstrated her triangle to us yesterday, and we could see how much of a bigger pose or a better pose she got by having her hips in a natural position. So understand that from our poses from yesterday, and then just practice these balances because there's a whole lot going on, okay? And I highly recommend videoing yourself and playing it back and try and self-correct. It's good. It's a good exercise for you to do for your teaching as well. If you can fix yourself, you can help fix other people too, or advise them on how to do it better for their body. Any questions? Well done, you guys are probably exhausted. I'm very happy with how things are going. Charisse, and then we'll come to you, Caroline.
Hi, Laura. I just want to make sure. So for our homework from you, we have to practice all the poses we did throughout this weekend and then the sun salutation.
Yes, please. Thanks, Sharice. Exactly. So all the poses you've learned with me, the sun salutation with that slow chaturanga, okay? And also you're required to do the 3 classes, which are on the website, or you can watch the recordings from this weekend if you want as well. The 3 classes, the forward bend class, the back bend class, and today's arm balance class. Those are what you'll be doing for me over the next coming week.
Okay.
Okay. And then Taryn, of course, she's chatting to you guys about the anatomy. You'll have a little bit of work to do with her as well. Okay. Caroline?
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharice.
Hi, it was the same question. So.
Okay, cool. And remember, it's all there in your schedule under your homework. You'll also slowly start to move towards pose analysis. You'll see those videos there, but you also have a time to watch it next weekend as well. So just have a look on your schedule. If you have time, you can watch those videos. Maybe you want to repeat and watch them again. But everything is on your schedule there, okay? All right, if you have any questions, just send me a WhatsApp, anything to do with poses, and we'll chat more as the weeks go on. Enjoy your lunch break now, and Taryn, will see you later this afternoon. Karen?
Just the dates are all September, October.
Oh, yes. In your course overview, the dates say September, October. Please disregard that and follow the dates that are on the schedule. And the dates that are in your homework, in the second page of your course overview, Karen, your second page is the homework schedule. The correct dates are there.
Super. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean your anatomy, it's actually on page 4 is your homework schedule, and you'll see the correct dates are there. 13th of November is your first anatomy assignment to Taryn, and she'll chat with you later. So yes, the correct dates are there if you get a bit muddled, okay? All right. Have a lovely afternoon. I will see you all next weekend. Have a good week ahead, and well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Later. Bye.
Bye.